Sri Srinivas Digital Capacity Lead APAC Region Syngenta, Mr. Emmanuel Shibin, economist from Israel. Let me briefly introduce the domain experts.
Signal ಕರಿಬೇಕು ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ ಕರೀತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡೋದು ನೋಡಿ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆಯಿಂದ ಫೋಟೋಗ್ರಾಫರ್ ಆಗಿ
Mr. Srinivas Chidumalla is the digital capacity lead APAC region from Syngenta. Srinivas is a IT leader with over 20 years experience in delivering business benefits. He is also country head for cross-country Infotech. In the last 6 years, as part of Syngenta, he has spent most of his time in development of digital solutions for smallholder farmers. He is an alumni of MIT Sloan School of Management. Currently, he is working as digital capacity capability lead APAC at Syngenta, while Mr. Emmanuel is a leading economist from Israel. Mr. Emmanuel started his career in Kingdom Capital Asset Management Company Limited, the financial company that works in global investment management and investment consulting, and analyst of global investment portfolio and global investment funds. Mr. Emmanuel established strategic affiliations with international financial institutions like ING, Oyster, Merrill Lynch, Schroeder, PIMCO, Franklin Templeton, and many more. Managed contracts with European banks and developed strong relations with private banking sector in Europe. Emmanuel's articles and global research reports were published in leading financial newspapers and websites, and he gave numerous interviews in major newspapers and other media. Emmanuel has extensive experience as quantitative research analyst, data analyst, specializing in developing quantitative intraday strategies and building automated trading systems. Can I hand over the session to Chidumalla, please?
Can you hear me? Technology never works first time. It's like a technical. So, good afternoon and thank you for inviting me here. This is a great place. The weather is really nice. The event is very well organized from morning. I'm really enjoying everything. And hopefully, you will enjoy this session also. Even though post-lunch, it is very difficult. So I will try my best, right? Keep you awake. Thanks to my fellow panelists. Right? So together we will try to give you at least some valuable knowledge that we have learned over the period, and hopefully that will take us far. So how many of you are from agriculture background? Plus 30-40%. That's good. Before I get into the actual topic, I just thought I would share what we do as a company. And one of the important things that we try to do is commit what we're going to do for the society. These are the 4 top initiatives that we have promised. Can you hear me? Okay, good. So there are a lot of evolving challenges for farmers, especially in Bharat, right? And to make sure that they work with it. Okay, so to make sure that they overcome those challenges and they get sort of a Syngenta has promised at least 2 things that they will do. One of them is accelerating innovation for farmers, right, in nature, and this means that we will continue to invest in the innovations, whether it is digital or otherwise, to make sure it helps the farmers. Second is we are also trying to beat carbon emission, and I'll talk about some of these topics while they are relevant to us. And third is about helping people to be safe and healthy, because when you do agriculture and with all the health data, it is important that the farmers are doing well. And last but not the least, we partner with a lot of organizations. So we have talked to farmers, we have talked to government bodies. also partner with a lot of companies to make an impact in the so any of you are part of the organization and want to participate and be with us in this fulfilling those commitments, then please reach out to either me. We also have a stall right next tomorrow. That's a different part of India, but they're doing it. Please reach out to us because we are really interested. And the reason I'm trying to show you first is this is our commitment that we work for the farmers' benefit. We want to show you that we are committed. So that will be my first slide. I've been asked to talk about how digital technology can help agriculture for next 10 years. And that is good because generally most of the people say what is the vision for 2 years, what is the vision for 3 years. But generally that doesn't work in agriculture. And the reason is the crop. If you want to do any innovation, any testing in agriculture, you need to wait for the whole season to complete. Right? And once that season completes, then only you know the output, and then any adjustments, you need to wait for another season. So in a year, if you have 3 seasons, you can do 3 trials, right? In any technology, whether it's drone or anything. So even in 10 years, you can only do 30 trials. Maybe you can do few parallel, but only learning happens one after the other. And that's why in agriculture it is difficult to make a huge impact in a very small amount of time. So I thought it is you guys can know why we are talking about 10 years. Right? Okay, slides I'm just pushing it from my own. What is the context, right? Because if you understand the context, you will understand the solutions. And if you understand the context and solution, then innovations, of course, there are a lot of smart people in this place. They will figure it out and they will come up with it. So I'm not going to try to say the solutions, but I'm going to try to give you context and what are the opportunities in the agriculture field. As we speak, right, we are not necessarily the top in terms of agriculture outputs, agriculture practices, but we are very good, but we are not at the top. And there is a lot that we need to do. But that is what we need to understand. Right? We will not be able to do the same way we are doing now and achieve extraordinary benefits. Whatever innovations we want to do, we need to make a heavy use of technology, especially information technology related things or other technologies that are ongoing to make a huge change. Otherwise, we will not be able to grow. And that is at least my personal belief, and that's why I work in the digital sector. Okay. So to give you context, number one, 80% approximately farmers are less than 5 acres or 2 hectares is what we call. There may be some people have more, but 80% are having land, cultivation land of less than 5 acres. So what does it mean? The success of these 80% farmers is important for the success of country. If we focus on this and if we make those people successful, then we will be able to make our country agriculture also successful. So when we focus on primarily solutions, we are trying to talk about this. If we take some niche scenarios here and there, maybe there are other ways to do it. But when we want to solve agriculture problem in India, right, this is going to be our topmost focus. 80% of the farmers who are less than 5 acres. It brings its own challenges, right? A lot of challenges. One of the challenges I cannot use heavy machinery. My land size is very, very small. So if you see, if you want to use heavy machinery, you cannot do it. You want to do a lot of automation, cannot do it because your land size is very little, your income is very little. It also means you cannot do, can you use Western technology directly here as it is imported? That is also not possible. So it becomes very, very difficult. And so India requires its own solution. All I'm trying to say is there is nobody is going to come and solve our problem. We have to solve our own country's problem. And this is a common problem in countries where the land sizes are small. It is whether South Asian countries, you can say majority, but India is primarily because we have land ceiling and then a lot of division happened. And so most of the problems are related to that. Right? What is the other challenges? Just to make it more interactive, if you guys think, right, any other thing, can raise hand and maybe we can do a two-way conversation on this one. Right? Second problem that we have. In Asia, we will have world's 50% of the population by 2030. But we will have only 25% of agricultural land. So what it means? It means we need to do more so that we can feed the people. If today we have abundance of grains, doesn't mean we will have it tomorrow. That is important to understand. And today also we are importing a lot of food materials, right, from outside. Hello. And if we need to be having food security, we need to think about future, right? So we are talking 10 years later, we cannot just say outputs. We also need to see what is the population and are we going to have enough food to feed these people, right? Of course, we have largest arable land, so we can do it. There is no doubt. I'm not trying to put out, but I'm trying to say we need to focus on it and we need to make sure that nobody goes hungry. And in recent times, we have seen the other countries also rely on us to provide food, export food. That means we have a lot more responsibility on us to grow more food material in our own land. Okay? Again, when I say this, I'm talking about those 80% of the farmers who are having less than 5 hectares of land. And technically, it is a word called smallholders across international standards. The third aspect that is happening is a lot of habits are changing of people. As the income is changing or as we're getting urbanized or for whatever reasons, what we used to eat is changing a lot. Right? We used to eat maybe less vegetable. People are eating more vegetables. People want more fresh fruits. People want variety of the fruits. They also want maybe different types of food. Now we want mango in the winter and all those things are there. But the habits are drastically changing. That means the new demand comes in. The farmer who is traditionally growing certain types of crop can make change in the crop based on the demand and then can earn more. But it is not so easy as we speak. Because if for them to change the crop, they need to learn completely new ways of growing. If you are growing rice, you want to grow tomato, entirely different ways of doing it. But if tomato is what is demand and that is the one has a price, then how do they switch from here to there? Not everybody, but those who can and those who want to switch, how will they switch? So this is another scenario that we are having, right? And this is not going to slow down, right? This is going to more and more pick up speed. And if we don't provide it, hello? Yeah. And if we don't provide it, what's going to happen? We're going to import it, right? We can say grow local, right? Be vocal for local, but that thing need to be available local. So if you don't produce it, we will import it, and that means again further inflation of the prices. So this is again very, very important to understand. So three things, right? Small farmers in India with a small land that requires a very specific solution for India. We cannot take solution from US, technologically developed or whatever, and just bring it to India and say, let's use it. That is not working, right? We have tested it. I'm telling you, it doesn't work. Otherwise, we would have already had it. There is going to be right, lot of different demands for farmers' produce, very different types of farmer produce, and then farmers, if they cannot switch it, they cannot get benefit of it, right? And third, the population is going to keep on increasing. So demand for food is not going down, right? I don't think anybody believes that we will start eating less. That's not going to happen, right? As the population grows. So these three things, if you remember, then we can try to find where to do innovation, where to do entrepreneurship, and where to do solutions. And to add to this, unpredictable weather and what we call climate change, and I'm not talking about the heavy drought or heavy flooding or only those extremes, but even day to day. If it used to rain regularly over the period, but now it is raining few times, it is not raining after some time, then again it starts raining, and this is not the weather pattern it was, that farmers don't know how to react to it. And this is happening more and more and more. We are seeing, or maybe our memories are less, but we are seeing rain now, right? Very nice heavy rains. It has impacted locally, and the farmers also get impacted because of this a lot. And they generally don't know how to deal with these situations immediately if it comes at a very, very short notice. So again, first was smallholder farmer, right? Small farmers. Second was increasing population. Third is changing habits, yes. Fourth is unpredictable weather. So this is the background in India under which we need to find solutions. Right? Are you guys with me so far? Okay, good. Single most problem of our farmers is about knowledge, right? Education. We are at a very premium institute with lot of research, lot of activity, but does that research reaches every farmers? It's not, doesn't reach, right? Because our farmers are in a very, very remote areas, right? They don't go to schools, or maybe they are not having the time. So if any entrepreneur wants to focus at least on one solution, and only one solution to solve the problem, that would be to give knowledge to farmers. And if that is done, I think our majority of the problem will go away. But there is a problem. Even if you create a great content and great applications and great way to deliver it and want to charge it to farmers, they will not be ready to pay for it. So this is the problem of economics, you can say. But this is a one bigger problem. How do we give this knowledge, how to grow farm, how to grow crop, how to deal with problems, how to grow new crops to farmers? This is one of the very big. It looks very simple, but this is actually the biggest problem that everybody is trying to solve, right? Including government, including NGOs, including private companies. So we cannot say that only one party is doing and able to solve. So what is required is how do you create a content, how do you take that content to farmers, and how do you make sure they use it and they produce better. So this is the first opportunity that we have done several things in it. We have tested it, we have rolled it out, but we still believe this is one of the big problems to be solved. And so if you guys are creative mind and know how to solve this problem, that would be the most important. Second opportunity, I would say. And the first problem is technologically solvable over the period if you work. But it is not solvable physically. You will not be able to go and teach a lot of farmers on that one. Second is, how do you provide advisory services to farmers? This is a huge business opportunities that are there where people are trying to look for, farmers are trying to look for these advisories. So they call it by different names, right? They call them doctors, they call them consultants, but this is a huge opportunity to do it digitally. So physically it is happening, but if it is done with the use of technology, you can reach a lot more masses. Again, currently consultants are being used by crops that are paying more, or premium crops, what we call. If it is you are a grape farmer or some other thing, the value is high, then you are ready to pay for it. But how do we deliver same for all types of crops? This is another big problem to be solved. And third, I believe in the next 10 years, but again, this will be solved, right? And the reason I say for next 10 years, because people are already working on it. If you participate, then you can benefit out of it. Third is the alerts and monitoring. Today, the farmer is not living in the farm. Sometimes they are living little far, right? And then because of a lot of unpredictable weather, they are unable to monitor. They don't have same extended families. So how can we monitor the crop and alert the person? This is another services which is not there, but I think it will come, it has started coming very early stage, but you will see it a lot more often in most of the crops in the next 10 years. Now, if you can provide content, if you can provide knowledge, you can provide everything, then what is the next way technology can help? And the buzzword is precision farming. Right? Precision farming is, the way I like to see the outcome is less input, more or at least equivalent output. Right? And how can technologies help? So I've written remote sensing, IoT, drones, mechanization, and AI. I'll try to give you a gist of how they work collaboratively together. Today, a person is spraying, right? And it goes and sprays. Drones will replace it. We all hear from the morning and outside also. The drones will provide the same level of spraying across the field. But with the use of technology, what if a pest is only on one side of the farm, or at the center of the farm? Then the drones can go and spray only that much area. That means less cost for the farmers. And this is where the technology is part of the precision farming. Otherwise, we will only call it as a labor replacement thing. Right? But the way drones are getting to be used in future is, it can look at the field and only do that much work. This also means it can do a lot more area because it doesn't have to spray all the places. Right? So drones coverage will be a lot more. Second is remote sensing and IoT. The way technology-wise it's getting work, and remote sensing means satellite data. So we have a lot of satellite data. Today with the use of satellite data, you can know how much acreage you have sown what kind of crops. If not for all crops, at least for majority of at least for major crops, right? So at least let's say wheat or maize, we can find out how many acres are done. With this help of same satellite, as the picture become more and more clear, the computers can also find out where the problem is. So rather than having to physically see and tell the drone to spray here, a satellite can do it. And because satellites can take picture of large areas, people are working in this technology where they can scan the entire district or entire states, right? And if you are into technology and you are also knowing agriculture, this is a great field that is upcoming. So that is what we call remote sensing. But if a crop is very, very premium, you can also put sensors locally to do the same thing with very high precision compared to satellite, which may be little low precision. So where there is heavy cost involved, you can do local sensors. When you have a low cost, you can do satellite, and I believe satellite will take over a lot of the activities. It can do today soil moisture, it can do a lot of things, it can give you alerts, and this is happening at a very high accuracy level, and soon we will see this coming out as a service to the farmers. So imagine you draw a farm field and tell the people that, okay, give me alerts what is happening. That is the most important thing. And third is mechanization. I've seen a lot of people are getting into mechanization along with the technology. So if a technology can see a fruit, can mechanical go in and harvest it? Or if it can see a vegetable, can it go and check it? This is not happening now a lot, but it will happen more and more, right? And especially in India, the huge harvesters will not work for some of the vegetables and crops. So this is going to help a lot. So if you are into entrepreneurship, and if you want to invest your time for future benefits, this is something I would say is a great place. Third problem, opportunities where it is the money. Farmers are unable to find loans at a lower rate, right? So they get local, the retailer or small local people give them loans at what, 2%, which is 24% a year. And that means when they get profit, they also pay back. This is one of the biggest problem, another big problem that in India that nobody can solve immediately, right? You cannot take money out and solve it because the amount of money required is huge. Banks will be ready to pay, but the problem banks are having is they are unable to guarantee that their loan will come back. And that's why when we do precision farming, and if it can give better estimation whether or not farm is going to be successful, then I believe credit and insurance from banks will increase, because they will also have guarantees. Same alerts and same monitoring will also be available to banks, so they know their risk very clear. Otherwise today it is mostly happening with government push, but to get private players involved and to cover the entire country, I think technology will play a major role in that. Okay. So these are the three main thing I think impacts the agriculture on farm. Right? Again, one is content, and because see, it's a lot of language problems are there. Only mobile devices are there. They don't have any other way to learn. So in the mobile, in multiple languages, you need to provide so knowledge, and then technology for precision farming, and third, I think, is the finance. There are just two other items I want to cover quickly. One is e-commerce, right? So e-commerce is happening everywhere. Everybody is buying. Farmers also want to buy it. They want to buy material on e-commerce. They want to sell things on e-commerce. And the technology is already available. It's only about using that technology and applying it to farm sector or agri sector, because its own problem, its own rural areas and other things. So if you are again looking for entrepreneurship opportunities or to invest or to put your time, e-commerce is a very, I think it will roll out in 1 year, 2 years, and it will be done. Maybe in 5 years, we will see e-commerce prevalent in agriculture everywhere. Second is supply chain. After the farm produce, and these are, I'm saying, not related to on the farm field, right? Not agriculture, but associated with it, where technology helps. How can you take the farmer's material faster to the customer? A lot of people talk about it. It's very difficult to do it, because the middle layer that we have is actually adding value. It is not like they are just there because of their some physical power or things. They are adding value, and who will add that value is very important. But supply chain is again a cross-industry problem. As we see more and more solutions happening there, we will see the technology to be transferred and to be applied to things. So if you have expertise in supply chain, you can also do it. And third, very different, and government is trying to solve the problem, is to see how we can provide a pure product to the farmers. Today, so many fake products or counterfeit products come into the market that even government is trying to struggle. So they have come up with the QR coding of each and every product. Everyone in industry is implementing it. And once it is implemented, hopefully next 4 or 5 years, we will see this counterfeit going down. And this will bring a lot more confidence to the farmer. Today, otherwise they are buying it with doubt, or if it doesn't work, then they lose trust in the chemicals, or they again try to do alternate things. But if a product is accurate, then it will work much better. And last, before closing, whatever you guys do, if you guys keep farmer at the center and do all your innovations around it, then I think you will have better achievement. If you only keep profit at the center, then it will not work. So we see a lot of people get into the farming because they want to they think there is a lot of money involved, or sometimes they think they want to solve certain problem, but they forget the farmer in the process. So whatever innovations you're doing it, always go back to farmer and ask. Don't think you have 5 years into the farming and you know everything. Always go back and check how to solve that problem. Second is, sustainability is very important. Whatever solutions we see that they are either heavily subsidized, or they are there for a year or two, but they will not work for long term. So see how we can develop solutions that are going to be sustainable for long term. And third, and most important thing, if you are into farming and a farmer is not making profit, then your solutions will not work. So at the end of the day, they need to make profit. And they need to make substantial profit, not a break even, because they are not a startup. It is their livelihood. So if they can make a very good profit, they will be into farming. You will be also able to work with it, right? And any of those innovations that you guys are working on, happy to connect with you guys one-to-one later, right? Because we are working on all of these aspects and trying to deploy these solutions across APAC. So one company, one person cannot solve all the farmers' problem, but I think if we can come together, then this will be able to solve the problem. So that's my short introduction to what digital solutions can work. And now I request Shri Emmanuel Shirbit to present your.
Like farming process in Israel. This look like thousands of sensors around, in the ground, on the ground, and all of the data, all sensors, all of the data come into databases based on different platforms like MS SQL, PostgreSQL, MongoDB. A lot of data coming through these platforms and create something like a multi-dimensions cube. Integration of all of these platforms is very difficult stuff, but you work here with big data. Every row coming into the database, and you should to take it into consideration and make decision making. After all this, you have some making decision process based on neural networks. This neural networks learning from itself all the time, all day, every year, and improving decision making process. This is not about agriculture. It's about big data, artificial intelligence. This is a new world, and if you want to be in the agricultural world today, You have to make deal with big data, with artificial intelligence, with databases, with different platforms, NoSQL, SQL, MongoDB, PostgreSQL, MySQL, everything what I say you must know, you must learn, you must work with this. So what I want to say, how we built this stuff in Israel. I spent more than 50 years in finance sector, and I learned how improve my investments, and I learned economic and financial cycles. Based on economic and financial cycles, I make my decision to invest money around the world. So I learned first cycle, go technology cycle, and after the technology cycle, go economic cycle, and after that, go financial cycle. So if you want to make the right decision to invest money, you should to consider technology cycle, where you are in technology cycle, and after that, you must to consider where you are in financial cycle and economic cycle. Like after that, you can you can make profit in your investments. So somebody know Kondrativ waves, technology cycles. These long-term technology cycles, and depend of these technology cycles, we see different and beginning and end of every economic cycle in the world through all human history. So before you invest money, you should to invest money in technology. You should to develop in technology infrastructure. You have to build infrastructure based on venture capital funds. You have to spend money to build technology hubs, like in Israel. In every university in Israel, we have technology hub for transfer technology from research, from academic research to the industry. You can come in every university, in Tel Aviv University, in Hebrew University, in Jerusalem, or Technion. And if you have some idea, if you have some interest in research, people can help you and can take your research in your academic research and take it to industry and make with you first prototype, and with this first prototype you can go to accelerator or incubator, where you will give help from government, and after that you will go to venture capital funds. After venture capital funds, you can, but first of all, in this country, like in Israel, we see very good, very smart financial infrastructure. Financial infrastructure built on venture capital funds and new financial instruments. New financial instruments like aggregate bonds, aggregate indexes. One of the most problem of all investments, you cannot invest big money from mutual funds or hedge funds or pension funds in assets with high volatility. So I saw 10, 20 years ago a lot of money, billions of dollars in pension funds, mutual funds. They do nothing there because of restrictions of banking system of Basel I, Basel II, Basel III. So all of this money you can invest just in high-rated stocks or bonds, but this is not so profitable. High-rated bonds, government bonds, or corporate bonds with rating AA, A+. So this is some problems. This is some problem. I decide this problem to create some aggregate bonds or aggregate indexes where you can take into the portfolio also high-rating bonds or high-rating stocks and low-rating stocks, low-rating bonds. So you will decrease volatility, and you can bring money into the small and middle cap companies. Because if you want to see growth in your economy in your country, you must invest your money in the small and mid-sized companies, because the growth of every economy depends on a small and mid-sized company. So many solutions you should consider to make financial infrastructure, and also venture capital funds. In Israel, we have many venture capital funds, multinational venture capital funds. Israel, South Korea, Israel, United States, Israel, Canada, Israel, India, Israel, China, Israel, Australia. You can bring money from everywhere and invest this money into technologies. So if you have some questions, I will answer. Do somebody have questions?
Can you apply this drone technology, IoT and other things?
Can you increase the audio of this, please?
So my question, you got it, my question?
No, I couldn't.
No, actually the fragmentation is increasing. Now the land holding in the farmers is less than 2.5 acres. Almost more than 60% farmers having. The second one is the holding is fragmented. It is distributed all over. It's not in the same place. Maybe in the same village cluster is east, west and south, north. Can you apply this drone or IoT technologies and other things? Is it possible on that?
Yeah, good. So there are certain technologies that is not possible, right? Like IoT for a 1 acre farmer, if they are doing regular rice or something, right? It will be very costly. So it will not work. But the satellite, because it is the same effort in general. Hello. So the IoT does not work for small, right? But the satellite-based monitoring, those things will work even for smaller. That is there. The second question about drone, etc., that will still work for 1 acre also, because if all the farmers, even whatever, it doesn't matter what they sow, if they all want to do a spraying with the drone, and if that labor is need to be outsourced, they will outsource to drone, and it will still work. So we see 1 acre, 2 acre also people want to do it, unless the family member wants to do it and save that cost, right? But there are places where they still want to do that because it gives them benefit. The other thing is, if it can help them spray less, that is the key. If it is about just manual labor with drone, difficult. But if a drone can only spray 10% of your plot in future, because that's the only thing that requires certain chemicals or crop protection, then that time it will be feasible. So today if we take them just drone and tell them to spray, cost is maybe little higher, maybe they will not take it. But I think over the period that will work.
But different cropping patterns. Cropping patterns different. Someone grow rice, someone grow cowpea, or someone grow red gram, like that. What happened? No, we cannot spray same pesticide for all, so then it is not working.
So see, generally crop patterns are similar. We can take an exception scenario, but in a village, most of the places, because of the weather, etc., same crop is sown most of the places, right? So there is some person who has gone entirely different. Of course, will need to invest themselves, right? But in most of the places, you will see there is one crop that is prevalent on that season, and for that is why that magnitude of activities work, right? That's why the scale comes up.
Okay, thank you. So my second question is to economist from Israel. Salam, sir. Sir, question to you, Israel.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello, so question to you, sir, economist.
He's asking question.
What?
You ask question.
Yeah, I told you Salam, I am the group of Salam. I was in Israel for some time. So probably not catching my question. So what is?
He's saying salam to you. He's wishing you.
Okay.
He's saying hello back to you.
Shalom. Shalom.
Right. So my question is that what is the GDP contribution from agriculture in Israel? That is increasing or decreasing? From agriculture contribution, GDP growth.
Contribution to GDP in Israel. Is it increasing, decreasing?
Yes, increasing. But I don't remember.
It's on.
I don't remember numbers.
Huh?
Is it increasing, but
Not much.
not exact number?
I don't remember percent.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, to Srinivas, that was a brilliant presentation on digital interface to agriculture. But most of the farming community are illiterates, more than about 80%. And also they are very strong-headed. They are not open to any new changes or technology. How you are going to address, how you are going to reach the digital technology to a community who are not open and who do not have the ability to understand?
Thank you, sir. See, good question, but generation changes, right? So the people who are illiterate, their children are literate today. They have smartphone and maybe they are doing jobs, and some very small. Second thing is, as long as, see, language is very important. If you provide every content in English, nobody is going to work. In fact, in our company, we make no content in English. We do everything in regional languages. So regional language, regional dialect, agri-dialect. So that is very important. So when I said content, there is so many content problem solutions today, right? YouTube, but all of them are either in English or in a very sophisticated city language, and the farmers are not able to understand. That's one. Second is, so many things can also be done visually. So today, because of the data problem or not having smartphone, they rely on hearing it. But in next 10 years, data will go down. Smartphone will be there in most of the houses. So if we can show them visually how to do certain things, they'll do it. And at the end of the day, if they want to, if they know by doing something they will make more profit, they'll do it. A smarter is actually very hardworking and very smart. They may be strong-headed, but they are very smart and they are very hardworking. That's why they are into farming. A common city person cannot do it. So if they see there is a benefit, I think they will learn also. And we have to do our best to go and deliver content in that method, that language, that dialect. Otherwise, it will not be possible. If you do any English, it's a done.
Some more questions?
So, sir, I am BSc graduate and I work on organic marketing and other things. And my small doubt to you is, sir, right now you spoke about entrepreneurship and other things. Like me, I am a very young entrepreneur where we see a lot of confusion whether to choose organic path or companies like Syngenta, like where we can fetch more. Because we are having very good clarity before that Sri Lanka news, what has happened in Sri Lanka, because market has drastically down due to converting complete Sri Lanka into an organic country. But how can an entrepreneur like who is emerging just as a BSc Agri graduate, there is a huge confusion whether they should choose the career in an organic, creating an organic market, or to choose an entrepreneurship development in pesticide or fertilizer thing. Both are leading into the same thing, sir. But the end of the day, what is the real thing? Because how we need to scale up the things, where we need to see the gap.
So maybe people have opinions about organics and chemicals. So I will not try to get into there because that is really not my domain. But what I'll suggest is think about yourself, right? So if you can find a market for organic product to sell, and if they are ready to pay the premium that you want, then you can, of course, produce that, right? So I will say, look at from a market perspective, right? If you're thinking of an entrepreneurship perspective, market is there both ways, right? Even in Western countries, I would see organic is also there, this is also there. So I'm not a chemic, I don't want to get into argument on chemicals, but the way I try to explain technologies, whether it is organic, which is also now coming in, bottled and all those things, right? And then whether you talk about other things, we should try to focus on decreasing all of them, right? And naturally, if it can grow, that would be better. So that's what I would say. But I don't want to get into this organic chemistry or the chemical version of it, right? Because if I'm a home garden, I use organic, right? But if it is really infested, what do I do? And from a farmer perspective, you cannot always say farmer. If he has 3 months of investment in a farm, if it is heavily infested, he has to do something to get the harvest, right? Out. Otherwise, the debt and everything. So at that point, the decision is not about, philosophical. It's always about practical. And if he has a good knowledge, right chemistry, then it works. So that's the way I would say. In morning also, Minister talked about the residue level being low. So the whole digital intervention we should do to bring that chemical usage lower and lower. And as a company also, we are trying to work on that front, where the chemical usage will be required lower and lower. Right? So I would say that is, I cannot give you a very clear answer on your philosophical thought, right? Let me tell you, economics perspective, right? Organic market is very low, and in India, I don't know whether people are ready to pay twice or thrice for the produce. It is not right. The market, I don't think so much is there. So you can do your research little bit more where the market is.
Thank you, sir.
When it started, not in terms of money, approximately you can say, but like the year, like how 10 years back it started, or when it ventured into digital farming in India, and how far it reached to the clients?
How far I reached as a company, I don't know how to say it, but as a country we are far behind. So let's say that way, right? So I think people are maybe not interested in Syngenta, but as a country we are far behind, and we need to still do lot of work in there. Investment, we are investing heavily. In fact, if you saw one of the commitments that we said in the beginning, one of the commitment is that we will do innovations for the farming sector, and a lot of it is happening in digital. So if you research, you will find we have purchased so many companies in digital, we're doing so many things. I don't know whether I can go everything into specifics, right? But we are investing certainly heavily because we are committed to this. Right? And not just India, we are investing all across the APAC, because I'm part of the APAC, I can tell you that.
My question is to Mr. Emmanuel. How Israel has become a global leader in agriculture with a very small landmass, and also with severe water shortage and not much of fertile lands. How it became a leader, And what are the things, your suggestions to make India with all the resources is still not recognized or it is going down? What are your suggestions for Indian farmers?
I think this is a big problem for Israeli agricultural industry because very small market, and if you develop some technology, very good, very profitable technology, you cannot profit from this technology because of domestic local market is very small. But some companies like Netafim companies take their technology to in other countries like Mexico, like Brazil, everywhere in developing world. You can find Africa, almost every country. You can find Netafim offices and Netafim platforms of irrigation in India, in Karnataka, also in Bangalore. You can find office of Netafim, so they use their technology to help in other countries to develop agriculture, and this is a solution for myself. I think about this a couple of years ago, and I thought if we have so good technologies, why we cannot take these technologies to the India, for example, and help farmers in India to use these technologies, sensors, or irrigation systems, or artificial intelligence system for decision support making. So this is one of my ideas a couple of years ago, to take these technologies and build something multinational accelerator or venture capital fund incubator, where we can take technologies from Israel and use these technologies and bring these technologies into industry, Indian industry. So we can bring technology, we can bring money, because in Israel so many venture capital funds, no problem find finance for these projects. But our problem in Israel, very small domestic market. So if we decide to work together, we can build a very huge venture capital fund and very huge accelerator or incubator, where we can take ideas from universities, from Israel, from Technion, from Tel Aviv University, and to develop and bring to industry and agriculture into agriculture industry of India. So this is my idea. I want to develop this idea. If somebody want to help me, I will be happy.
Can we take one last question from the
accuracy, but few stations across the country. Then we have private companies who have put it in a lot of taluka levels or some places in more levels. There are also some companies try to collaborate and ask individuals to put more weather stations. So you can see weathers in a more microclimatic area. On top of it, government is actually doing a lot of activities by sending these satellites. So we are a little late based on a project plan of country, but the Kotosat 3, I think, went up, and then there's going to be more in line, and they will bring a lot more accurate weather information. And again, accuracy in weather means 80% is very good accuracy. Right?
Now,
so
how much farmers are alerted from this before they even go for sowing or whatever?
Yeah. So the problem of weather in again our country is delivery of that information to farmers.
Right.
So
that is the main.
Weather department tells me, I'll give you every weather. You send money on SMS and send it to farmers. So, but who's going to send that, right? So currently, the way it is delivered, the content, it is not cost effective. But with the more and more smartphone penetration, where the delivery of data is cheaper, then I think that weather information will reach better. Again, weather doesn't mean normal weather.com, right?
True.
Minimum, maximum, etc.
Right.
They want to know very accurately, maybe hourly, when they can do some chemical spray, so a lot of algorithms and etc. are also developed in Europe, and even for Asia we have developed it. But it's all about delivery.
Yeah,
it's about convincing farmers this is good for you.
Correct.
So it is taking time, but I think we are on the right track now.
Thank you very much.
think there was one behind, if you can say. Last one. One last question we'll take. It's okay.
Good evening, sir. I'm Shailaja H. Pujari, MSc student. I have a doubt. There is a scheme called One Product, One District scheme, One District, One Product scheme. How that is helpful for Atmanirbhar Bharat? Like it gains monopoly when it goes for one product for our entire one district. If some incidents like pest infestation or weather incidents, it might completely fall. So how it will be helpful?
Okay. So I'll take out my digital hat. I'll put my economist hat for a moment and tell you. So this is not like everybody in the one district develops only one crop. That is not, I think, the purpose. The purpose is a crop-specific infrastructure to be developed for process value addition, right? So there is a lot of benefit in clusters. So if you see, there is a textile cluster. We think that too many companies in one place will actually harm each other, but in reality it benefits. So if a particular crop is more prevalent because of certain climatic reasons, and then you set up that crop-specific infrastructure, expertise, students, companies, then it will develop better. That is the way I would say, right? So it is not, I don't think government is saying change only one crop in the entire area. That's not, is my belief. Huh?
Thank you, sir.
I think we can close it, right? Thank you.
So my question is that organic produce demand is increasing day by day. Is that any technology available with the remote sensing IoT or GIS satellite image that you can find that this patch of land is practicing very organic cultivation and this patch of land is practicing inorganic cultivation? Is that any technology available? Or in coming future it is maybe possible?
Yeah, I think some companies are doing it. Huh? They're trying it. How accurate it is, maybe not, because it requires good amount of data, but they're trying to see whether certain chemical signatures are there on certain things. So there is a possibility. So if you are into artificial intelligence or machine learning, with the help of different remote sensing data, some companies are working on it. So I don't know who asked the question, but I hope that helps. Is it possible? Yes.
Thank you very much. Both the speakers are going to be here for some more time, so you can have a one-on-one with them. With this, I thank both the speakers for this deep dive session on agriculture development in the next decade. I'm sure all the participants have hugely benefited out of this. We would like to share a small memento to both the speakers. Can I request Sri Rajappa, Secretary, Lagudyog Bharati Karnataka, Mysuru Vibhaga, to kindly honor Sri Srinivas Chidumalla, please? Can I request His Excellency Sri HVS Krishna, Honorary Consul for Republic of Mali in Bangalore, to kindly honor Mr. Emmanuel Shirbin, a leading economist from Israel. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.